Welcome to From the Hearth Co. My name is Holly, and I am a 45-year-old mom of 5. I have a 21-year-old, a 18-year-old, a 15-year-old, and then I pretty much started over, and I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, 2.5 and 1.5. And I am just going to talk a little bit about how being a mother in my 40s and having babies in my 40s has been different from when I had kids in my 20s and what that has looked like for me, and also a little bit about the things that I did to get pregnant in my 40s. So I guess this time around, just having kids older, I really appreciate it more. Like, I am just enjoying having my 2 little guys so much. I'm really embracing every moment. Like, we play so much. I buy more toys for them than I ever thought that I would. And, I feel very fortunate that I am able to do that. And I just kind of make it happen. But, yeah, we get outside and play a lot. I know, like, I don't take everything so seriously this time around. I know that every stage is going to pass so fast, so I don't sweat the small stuff as much. And I still have my tired days. I still, lose my cool every now and then, but it's like, oh, he's not sleeping at night. It's, this too shall pass, like, really quickly. It's not a big deal. I just have a much more relaxed approach to motherhood. With the older kids, I had them on sleep schedules, and I kept them clean all the time. These kids, these 2 little guys, they're running around with the chickens and getting dirty. We're outside all day. My husband and I, we own a gym, so we go there in the mornings, the kids and I, and then we come home, for a big chunk of the day. And I used to go back to the gym in the evening, but now I just stay home with the babies because it makes for a smoother transition into dinner and bedtime. And it's nice to have the option to do that. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. I guess I'll just kind of share as things come into my mind about it. But I wanted to talk about things I did to help me get pregnant, because when I was 41 or 42, we decided that we wanted a baby. And my husband, he is my second husband. He doesn't have any kids, and he had never planned on having any kids. That wasn't something that he wanted to do. It wasn't on his radar, and he was fine with just having my 3 teenagers. And we've been together since 2016, so he's been in their life for quite a while, and maybe I'll make a video on that, how that transition was. Because I feel like we did a fairly decent job at that, the whole blending of family thing. So yeah, we decided we wanted another one, and we started the process of trying, and I got pregnant pretty quick and found out, I did the blood test and found out that it was a girl, and then I miscarried at 8 weeks, and that was heartbreaking. I had miscarried before in my life twice, and I've been diagnosed with Hashimoto's, and I had been on levothyroxine, and I was treating that. But at the time that I miscarried, I was not taking my levothyroxine, and I was treating my thyroid just by being intuitive and natural. And this is not medical advice. this is just things that I've done to try to work with my body, and I'm not suggesting anybody try to do this. Being just who I am always trying to do things as natural as possible, and I'm always experimenting with my body and trying to figure out what foods work for it, what supplements work. And so after that, I got back on levothyroxine, and I started reading this book called, at my sister's suggestion, called It Starts with an Egg. And it goes through supplements to help you with your egg health. Now, from what I had understood, you know, we're all born with the same amount of eggs that we're always going to have. And I thought that those eggs were just those eggs. And as you get older, your eggs also age. And that was why a lot of women who were older had a hard time getting pregnant. And if they did get pregnant, then, you know, there were higher risks of Down syndrome or just different things that might not be like a full healthy pregnancy. And so what I learned from this book is that you are born with the same amount of eggs, but you can help them get healthier, because our cells are constantly renewing themselves. Like, we don't have the same skin that we did when we were born, because our cells are constantly turning over. And how well our cells turn over and renew is based on how we treat our bodies and how we eat, how much exercise, sunshine, macronutrients, micronutrients, how much, you know, water we drink. And so our cells are constantly renewing themselves, and it's the same with our eggs. We can increase the health of our eggs by eating certain ways, taking certain supplements. So I started taking the supplements in this book, and then I started getting into more of a holistic space. And I mean, I was always there, but I wanted to do it in a more holistic manner. My toddler's going for the chicken food bowl. I gotta go feed the chickens in a minute. Yeah, that's not for us. That's old icky food, buddy. It's old icky food. We'll have lunch in a minute, okay? Okay. So then I started looking for ways to have these supplements in a more bioavailable manner, not through man-made synthetic supplements. So I started taking beef liver because they're so high in nutrients, and a lot in the nutrients that were suggested. A lot of the micronutrients that were suggested in this book could be found in beef liver. And I also started taking a supplement called Shilajit, which has a lot of fulvic acid and a ton of micronutrients. And I believe it's found at the base of the Andes Mountains. Anyway, it's a resin in its natural form, and if you take it that way, it has an interesting taste. My husband really likes it. I think it's good. Or you can take it in tablet form. And the women who live in this region and take it, they stay fertile for years, like well into their 50s and 60s. So I started taking that, and I also started taking baby aspirin. So do your research on that. That's helped a lot of women actually get pregnant and hold on to their pregnancies. And then I started putting progesterone cream on my wrists. Okay. You okay? No? I think you're trying to get this food. You don't want this food. This food's yucky. I'm going to pause, and I'm going to go feed this to the chickens so he's not distracted. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm watching the chickens eat now. So shilajit, beef liver, what else did I take? Those were like the two main ones, along with a baby aspirin every day. And then around this time I found the Weston A. Price Foundation. So I started eating even more whole foods to supplement, and eating a very high saturated fat diet. So I was eating beef, eggs. Once a week, I was eating, at least once a week, I was eating smoked oysters because they're high in copper. And copper is something that is not typically found in our food sources anymore because the soil's been depleted of it. Weston A. Price Foundation, as far as fertility and during my pregnancy, was very helpful. Specifically, the book Nourishing Traditions, and I can go into more into that and how I used that even after I got pregnant later. So I got pregnant, and I did not take traditional prenatal pills. I kept taking the things that I was taking because it was more bioavailable. And I had a very healthy pregnancy. I gained 15 pounds before the pregnancy. At the time, I just believed my body really needed that. And not that I was super thin before that anyway, but I think my body just needed those nutrients and needed to feel safe in that manner. And I had a great pregnancy, super happy, amazing home birth, and I can talk more about that later too. I'll talk about each of my births. And then when I was 3 or 4 months postpartum, I didn't know it, but I got pregnant again, and I didn't even realize I was pregnant until I was 20 weeks along. And I know that sounds insane, but you know, we have the gym, I was working out. Hey, do you want out of the chicken pen, or are you still playing? You want to come out now? Are you sure? Okay, I'm gonna go let him out. I'll be back. Okay, so didn't know I was pregnant until I was 20 weeks along. And how I found out was I was in the gym and I was doing a plank, and I just kind of went down to my stomach to rest, and it was really hard. And I had been losing weight. Like, I had lost 20 pounds. I was losing inches everywhere except for in my stomach. But I was like, well, you know, I'm 43 years old. Like, that's to be expected. Like, it's the last place to go. I've always just held the weight in my stomach anyway. You know, perimenopause, blah, blah, blah. So, but I was like, gosh, it's hard. I think I might have a hernia. I think something isn't healing right from my pregnancy. And at this time, my little boy Osborne was only, you know, gosh, 3 months old or something. And, you know, I didn't think there was any way I could be pregnant. And, you know, my husband had kept asking me, are you pregnant? Are you pregnant? Are you pregnant? And I was like, no, I'm not pregnant. Also, I had been having periods, and they were irregular. But I thought, well, my hormones just haven't, you know, balanced yet, so everything's irregular. But I was even bleeding for a month straight at one point, and it was terrible. And I was like, what's wrong with me? And then I'd even had what I thought were phantom kicks. It turns out they were real kicks. So my husband kept pressuring me to, like, take a pregnancy test. Like, he gets feelings about things, and I often don't listen. And so finally I did, and I was at Target, and I kind of begrudgingly just grabbed, you know, a pregnancy test. And I was like, fine, I'll take a pregnancy test, hid it underneath my things. And it was a good thing I did, because of course I kept running into people that I know, and I have this newborn. I don't want them to see me with another pregnancy test. they'll be like, oh my gosh, do you know how that happens? Yes, I know how that happens. So took the pregnancy test, super fast positive result, and I didn't even take it first thing in the morning. I just took it in the afternoon because I was impatient. And so took the pregnancy test, and then I went to an imaging center instead of to the doctor because I was like, I'm just going to get an ultrasound. I want to see. I was thinking maybe I was 8 to 12 weeks along, and they did it, and it turns out I was 20 weeks. And so we went ahead and found out the gender. We didn't find out the gender of Osborne. We kept that a surprise. But we found out with this guy because I was like, shoot, I'm already like halfway. Careful, buddy. Hey, you gotta be careful, okay? Let's take your shoe off so you have more balance. There. And super careful. No bonking. No bonking. Okay. So, you know, I'm already 20 weeks along. I'm already halfway through this pregnancy. So I decided to find out the gender. We both do. We're sitting there, and Ozzy's with us, and we find out it's another boy, and we would have been excited either way. And it was really cool because I did want a sibling for Osborne, so that because the other kids are so much older, and I didn't want Osborne to be raised as if he was an only child. I wanted him to have that sibling connection. Please be so careful. Here. Yeah. And so so yeah, and it was pretty awesome. I was super excited about it because I'm an impatient person, and to already be done with most of the pregnancy. And it was an amazing pregnancy, and I was 43 years old. My birthday's at the end of December, and he was born January 12th, and so I was 44 when he was born, and that was a harder birth. Also did it at home, and it was harder because I got the flu right before I gave birth. So I mean up to the day before, I was like puking my brains out, and the whole house was just sick, and it was terrible, except for Osborne. He was doing it. You okay? Oh my goodness. Come here. You okay? You wanna get down and play? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna have to go in. So anyway, Osborne didn't get sick. Kid has an amazing immune system. I attribute that to the fact that they are always in the dirt. They're eating dirt. They're playing with the chickens. Yeah, these kids are just outside all the time, and I really think that that's why they have such really good immune systems. That amongst a few other things that I can talk about in some other videos, and ways that things that I give them to help that along, and things that I don't give them to help that along. Decent pregnancy, great pregnancy, decent birth. Everything, he was healthy, everything was healthy, except I bled a bit because my body was so stressed out right before. So that's fine. I know I bleed heavy anyway, and I know what my body can handle and what it can't, and so bled quite a bit, and I'll go more into my birth stories individually in other videos, and I'll tell you what we did to get me back on my feet in a few days after that. Not that I was up and running around, because I really believe in postpartum rest, but I kind of had to be up and running around because I had a toddler. So so now I have 5 kids, 21, 18, 15, 2, and 1. Freaking love it, and I would actually love to have one more. Ever since I was a little girl, I wanted 6 kids. That's just been the number in my head. So if we had another one and I got pregnant fairly soon, I would actually be 46 when the baby was born. And I know it sounds crazy. I looked at my family history, and I have like a great-great-great-grandma in there. Her name was Delana, and she had her last baby when she was 54. I know that having babies pushes off menopause. Okay, I got cut off a bit. My phone storage was full. So that was pretty much the end of my story, and just talking a little bit about being a mom in my 40s and starting over again, you know, kind of. My kids were teenagers, and then I had babies, and I'd like to have another one. Right now, the supplements, I'm treating my body as if I'm prepping to get pregnant again. We haven't decided for sure whether we're gonna have another one or not, or try for another one. But I'm still taking beef liver. I take fermented cod liver oil. That was another thing I took during my pregnancy. And I still give that to the boys also. I take it in pill form, but I put it in my kids' smoothies. Beef liver, I'm taking vitamin K2, baby aspirin, occasionally ashwagandha, and magnesium when I remember. And eating a lot of eggs and saturated fat, meat, high protein, very high protein diet, and then very high fat and carbohydrates, as I feel I need energy. And mostly I try to make those like in like a very fibrous form, so like vegetables, a lot of black beans, sourdough, because like I'm making it and it's here and it's good. And then a little side business I have is I make sourdough granola, and so my family loves that. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. If you have any questions or things you want to know, leave them in the comments, and yeah, hopefully I'll be back here soon and talk more about being a mom to 5 at the age of 45, and gym owner, and part-time cottage bakery sourdough granola maker, and truly love my life. I'm so grateful for it. Just really enjoying being a mama right now. Like, so grateful every day for those babies. And yeah, the joy truly is in the journey. I have destinations I want to reach. My husband and I both do, but we are just really grateful for every day and enjoying every day that we have with these kids and in our life, and in our little home with our little garden and our chickens. And yeah, so thanks for listening.